Well, when I woke up at 2 o'clock yesterday, I finally went to sleep around 2. I had this weird dream, and you recall, like, I was listening to rebel music and about the Native American Indians before I went to sleep, and then I had this dream about these sort of very wild-looking Caucasians, just insanely wild-looking, and their English didn't even make sense. They'd be like, yeah. They didn't even know how to talk or anything. They didn't understand sign language. Their communication was that of a feral human. Like, they didn't have a mom. But in the dream, after they had, it was sort of weird. Like, they had killed all the buffalo, and it was just so quiet. And you have to understand, my people from Byhalia, Mississippi. That means keeper of the land, or God's land. You know, when and which of course we no longer are. So, and they were the keeper of the plain. There were certain Indians, the keeper of the plain. They it's not like they just like people that are nomadic in a way were like nomadic, like the white people say. You know, you had stationary homes, but when you had some people that was following the tribe, you know, following the herd, you know, you might say that group at that time was nomadic until they come back to their home. So they were the greatest era, and the main thing that made the white man sort of in a way win is because he was so diseased. And the one reason why there was disease is because they just didn't understand their connection to the earth. They didn't want to say, oh, you know, we're mammals, we're animals, you know what I'm saying? And then when they had a little inkling that who they were, they decided they didn't want any other animal to rise up. And they weren't worried about the buffalo. You know, they didn't want no other race to rise up above them. Or their whole objective was to rape, rob, pillage. They were the great invaders, great white invaders. But, you know, to this day, their big secret was is that they were so diseased that people that are indigenous, like in South America, can't come around us because they will like die in 21 days, like. And they just don't have any immune against us, you know, because you got to understand that since they decided that they were going to shame us for who we were and what we were, the first thing that they did was destroy the woman. But anyway, the way the dream went, there was, because the woman was hailed as a mother, and mother was held very important because she carried on the life, and it was like a chain that you got brought down from your ancestors, a piece of each one of you, who you were. So it was very important. White man wanted it to be very important just for the man. Man's very important too. But, you know, so they figure out, oh, well, you destroy the woman, you kill the woman, there goes that, you know, take the child from the woman. And, anyway, so on the dream they had, so we're just slaughtering and killing and mutilating, and then they brought in, like, they had the men there that had been doing all this slaughtering, and so they built a little, after they didn't have built the town in the dream, they bring in their women from overseas. These men have been promised women, and they're all excited. Well, the women come, and they have, like, they've been like beat, raped, and all this along the way, you know, because they believe that the more pain and anguish humiliation that you cause that individual, the more submissive they will be, and especially, and I mean, we're talking about people that, but anyway, that did minds, they just come in. But anyway, and the women had big open sores because when they came over the boat, they don't care about nutrition. It's one of the first things they learned is that the nutrition, that the lack of nutrition has made them all scurvy, and I guess in some cases, you might say the scurvy was like along with their other open sores from dehydrations and the lack of cleaning and open, anyway, they was a massive but anyway, so in the dream, so the women came and they were, their hair was matted, they were soaked with urine. They had been around these Indian women, and like their tradition is like, they don't do that, they don't go there like that, they lived off the land, they understood, how to find food, where to find food, which really pissed them off because that's one of the thing is like they could find food out of anything, make a fire meal out of air, they understood nature, make a beetle, take a beetle widow with a little bit of grind and this and that and make a muffin out of it and have you a beetle muffin with honey. Anyway, high protein. But anyway, in the dream, right, so they're sitting there, so they got the women, they got the scurvy women. Men don't want them. Most of the men have been gone through puberty with only men around them and didn't really care for a woman, let alone scurvy. And so some of them forsake those women. They stayed in the bar and saloons to be prostitutes. They didn't pass the mark as it's a simple wise, the simple fact that but the only problem was with the Indian women, with most of them, well, I guess the white women, like with their disease and everything, wouldn't die in 21 days. It's the Indians that when the men had syphilis so bad, you have to understand that in Britain, in France, in Spain, because of the way their monetary system worked, and that the hierarchy has all the money and the keep people down low. They already have prostitution really bad, because you have to understand part of the war, like with the Great Crusades, when it started a long time ago with the church, because the church was a big part of England and a big part of why people had left England, because of for the church, but they were being doubled by hypocrites. But the main thing is, like, you have to understand, if you think about during the time the church took over, they believed in rape, rob, pillage. You know what I'm saying? They would go into, like with the Great Crusades with their big old red cross on, and killing in the king's name, under the goddess or whatever, or under the name of whatever religion they want to. Same as now. But anyway, so let's go back to the United States. So in the dream, right? So like they finally had, like they got all this land, and they weren't gonna have this giant buffalo. They don't want us to look anything like, they don't want it to have any of the look that like strike up a memory to some of the kids that they're now raping and beating because it's very important if you like for the kids to see their parents get murdered, or see their parents get humiliated, or see their parents hauled off in shackles, or like today, like kids seeing their parents hauled off, getting beat and while they're already handcuffed, which is different than getting beat before you're in handcuffs. It really is. It's sort of like seeing that guy that you saw the police kick over and over and over again, And the whole time they were saying, oh well, he had an argument with his girlfriend. Oh, he was this with his girlfriend, and no, he was all excited, you know. When I would teach, and somebody like a little 6-year-old, or a little 7-year-old would, you know, come in there, the library, and give me all these excuses, you know, you would just say, well, it doesn't really matter because you're the one that kicked. It doesn't matter what the other person did, behavior previous. They didn't really involve you, it had nothing to do with you. But they try to say he was fighting with the police, so, you know, which is, no, they just decided that, you know, like, oh, when it comes to certain issue, like, oh, you're beating a woman, okay, we got a good argument. You know what I'm saying? The propaganda that we've been fed to, you know, with the, anyway, it's sick. Every time, you can't have excuse for misbehaving and then don't understand why people don't respect you. If your actions are that and your words are such that it's disrespecting the whole America, you think you're just disrespecting black people. You think it's funny when you get one of your Uncle Toms or one of your Aunt Jemimas to go up to little black African Americans that just want to suck the shit out your ass. And what you gonna give them? Hepatitis? Never mind. I digress. But you can't get hepatitis with all that ass eating. This shit, never mind. Something to think about. Anyway, I digress. But so getting back, my dreams is like fragile like this too. So anyway, finally, right? So they go back and they finally got rid of, they slaughtered the Indians. They done stole all their stuff. Mostly just like they want in Afghanistan and Turkey's gold. You know, they had the gold, they had, now, you know, the oil, you know. You gotta understand, in Europe, they didn't have cars. They didn't have trains. They didn't have the technology that, oh, was poof, when you after you murder the Indians, then you got it. That's why if you ever study history, the Pinkertons came and was murdering them along the tracks, you know, because that's what they do. The white people came in, they murdered the original people, and then they're like, this is ours. And, you know, well, let's get the Catholic Church to gather up the children. Don't forget to beat and rape them. And it's in the history book. You can ask any Native American, Indian America, if they have heard stories about how when the church came over here, right? What they did to the kids was just rape them and beat them. That was their procedure. We're going to beat them, we're going to rape them. That's going to make them submissive. You know, but instead, it didn't make them submissive. It made some, when they had the opportunity to go up to Canada. Some went down to South America. You know, some of them had to cut and run. Some of them had to hide their kids, but the unfortunate ones where the kids were gathered up, their brains was poisoned. Not only were they poisoned with the food that they gave them, right? And they poisoned their mind as they do today. But anyway, so they're on the Great Plains, right? Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, right? They're on these Great Plains where the great buffalo used to roam freely, no problem. And taking out one buffalo could have enough protein for a whole winter for the families to survive, a whole village to survive. You know, anyway, so they got rid of all the Indians. They marched them off to different places away. They done killed all the buffalo. They killed all the elk in that area. They cut down extra fucking trees to build the fucking little platforms, put the little, look like, you know, God's skull, right? And just about, and so then they brought the white people in. White people already, this is great land. They had miles and miles of weed. There was so much food growing there. It was fantastic. They had stumbled all the grass down by the big huge bodies of the buffalo, and by just cutting their tongues out and leaving them to bleed and their bodies to rot, and the sun caused, you know, where their bodies lay, the grass to die, where the blood ran, you know, it coagulated and it caused you know, a great death over the land, to where nothing would grow. They killed all of them for nothing. And that's why today, because what they killed them for is like they wanted what they had, so they wanted this great land. They wanted a great buffalo. But the first thing they did was kill the buffalo. They destroyed the land. Alright, this is what you want? And this is the mentality that we have to live with today. And if you don't believe me, we still have global warming. They still have not learned. It's for all intents and purposes, you have killed this earth. The water. So you are the god of shit. That's what you produce. That's your child that you cause death and devastation. You cause the bacteria to take over, to be the fucking leader. They wanted to be gods. There's another story where they first seen, like, if we were not like nothing like what. We had different people, different areas because of the way the temperature and how they were to the equator, you know, and what type of terrain they lived in, and had to do a lot to the way they developed. It's just the same as today. They don't even want you to understand that South America is the same as Africa. They didn't have to go far to rape and pillage and destroy a group. They're just afraid that the other story goes is when some white people, they thought that, well, if I kill this great man, and you know they sort of looked like me. They was brown from, you know, a golden bronze color skin from being out in the sun. The hair was kissed a sort of a auburn gold from the sun bleaching it, and supposed to be the most gorgeous people you ever seen. And the women were very clever in the way that they helped their children to learn and develop, and the men were very clever too in the way that they was able to utilize tools and make a job go quicker, and they, by all of them uniting as a one unit, they would build homes together, form together, and all this is like as one. It made things go easier and faster, you know, to get the job done, and you know, hence to make their lives easier. They even had from they worship the sun. There's stories that they're supposed to have light. You not see black soot on their walls and when they had their longhouse, because they had a form of electricity, because they understood all the elements. They understood water. They understood how to irrigate. They understood how, by them being an animal and being from this earth, being from a woman, you know, and the man being of a woman also, that we had a connection to the earth, and the earth was like our mother, like the one that gave us life, that the one that we sprung out of her lungs, that we was part of the world. We were attached to it, and if we work with it in unity, as we did, like with our own people, with our own tribes, with our own I want to say another word for tribe, but our own kin. You know, as a unit, like if we all want to have great food and we get out there and we all till the soil, you know, we all seed it, it makes it quicker than one person going out there. And they had the understanding of the steam engine, of engines, and all this. The white man, that surely shared or gave the knowledge, you know, but not our land, you know, and they could make $1 million of that, but they chose to kill first. So anyway, they had killed all the Indians, They had killed all the females that was there and sent them to the western reservation. They're stuck with these women with syphilis, scurvy, lice infected, open cuts and sores because his one of the worst things he had was got an infection, a scratching infection back there. Confessed eruptive. They didn't have no antibiotics, and because of their cleaning habits was the pulling. And so anyway, here they was, and then all the ones they tried to form, they tried to plant their seeds, and it just kept blowing away, blowing away, blowing away, blowing away. So then they had the dust storms, and they say, oh, you hear about the dirty 30s, but they say from 18, maybe it was I think from 1810 it blew to 1930. So now you have the result of after the white man killed. So anyway, in the dream, they're standing at the door, and they're just looking, you know, and you know they're like, well, we shouldn't have killed God, or maybe we killed God, and that was the dream. I know. My dreams are all over the place. What time is it? Oh, 2:30. I'm wide awake. Anyway, I got scared in my dream. Okay. Good day. Oh, just remember, you know, because there's an old story that goes along with that. The way I was thinking, this is the end time. Either this generation is going to awaken. If they don't, the Earth is going to crumble and die, and that might be why they're trying to go out of space and look for another place. But the only problem is, because of the lack of gravity, the joints and stuff like that can float out of place. Now, you know, it's just for the lack of air, and all the stuff that everything you need to stay alive is been on this planet. You go out in space, and you're going to be everything, some microscopic bacteria that you don't recognize as anything. Maybe something to step on, you know. Oh, look, it's an alien. It looks like a worm, so you step on it. So you're not going to comprehend, and when you do, you're just going to step on it. It's like an insect or something. Well, anyway, some parasitic animal might find you as a tasty tidbit. You know, there's bad radiation. Who knows? Maybe what you're seeing is the radiation breaking down your skin, so they can slowly digest you. And one day you'll just be a hunk of limestone. Gonna be a hunk of salt. Mostly humans are a hunk of salt. Salt deposit. Oh yeah, that's what happened in the dream. Cause like, never mind. I don't want to mess with no aliens. I'm gonna go eat breakfast. Good day.